got invited by Fidel Castro to Cuba. Tell us what that was like. You've got the floor.
Yeah, I actually went to see him in August 2010, at the end of August. And he loved the book. He didn't know, I'm not sure whether he knew of Bilderberg, but he certainly understands the world politics and geopolitics. And he invited me to Cuba. I spent 1 week with him. We had a 3.5-hour meeting, which was divided into about an hour and a half meeting with him and I and other journalists, asking questions on his behalf. Castro and I had a 15-minute private conversation. And then we had a lunch, with some of the dignitaries of the Cuban government. But what was interesting about this whole thing is he understands better than most politicians about who actually runs things in the world. He spends most of his time reading. He understands where all of these individuals come from. He knows them personally, obviously. And we're talking about, for example, immortality and demand destruction and zero growth. He understood these concepts from the word go. You didn't have to explain it to him. He knew exactly how things run. And I tell you, for an 85-year-old man, he had incredible charisma. And if he actually ran in the American politics, even without speaking English, he'd win this whole thing, hands down, because there's no prepared speeches, there's no teleprompters, just the guy, Fidel Castro, talking. It doesn't matter, as you said earlier, whether you're left, you're right. And, and I certainly, have no relation to Cuba whatsoever, but it's amazing how you talk to an individual like Castro, and you realize how much you can actually offer, from a point of view of knowledge and understanding and wisdom, and you also realize how little American press knows about him.
Well, I know that early on the CIA worked with him, but then supposedly there was a falling out.
Well, there's obviously been over, I can tell you one thing, that he has tremendous security. And before I actually got in to see him, I was frisked 10 times over. Obviously, he had I don't know, 20, 30 bodyguards around him. But we actually sat down, and for our meeting, the whole atmosphere was very relaxed, very, outgoing. And he's a very, very funny man. And, after the meeting, they took me throughout the week that I was actually there to see the Chernobyl Center. One of the kids from the Soviet Union, from Ukraine, were there actually being nursed back to health. And over the past 20 years, over 20,000 kids have passed through Chernobyl, and Cuba obviously being a very poor nation. All of these kids are being treated for free, something which is unfathomable in the United States. Now, I'm not promoting Cuba. I'm just saying what I saw with my eyes, and it's amazing, how the whole idea of nation states and what's actually, common good, when actually is working, something is working, how much good that actually does for the community.
Well, what's interesting is that he invited you there because he'd read your book. I saw that in Reuters everywhere. That Fidel Castro is looking into the New World Order, because it really is the real politics. Whether you like Castro or hate him or are indifferent, the fact is this is real. There are shadowy banking cartels that are trying to govern our planet. They're trying to get a total world government. The question is, will we let them? Because of all the ideologies, the globalists are the worst. They want global government, the end of the family, and mass extermination. They are like aliens from another planet come to kill us.
Well, if we're going to take our country or countries back, we have to do it now before any more rights are taken and any more people disappear and before we lose all control. So we have to stand up, understand that this is real, understand this isn't some figment of imagination of some guy who writes a book or a radio personality who sells something on the radio. This is real, folks. When Wall Street Italy talks about it, also, Alex, not only did I see Castro, but I also gave him 2 speeches at the European Parliament, which is an equivalent of the United States Congress. And in these speeches, very well attended by international media, needless to say, not reported at all in the American press, but widely.
Stay there.
You are listening to GCN.
We're doing 5 more minutes with Daniel Estulin, left over from the last hour, finishing up. He's written nonfiction books that are bestsellers. He's got a fiction, but because he can put more reality in that than a regular book and get away with it. The Octopus Conspiracy is coming out in the U.S. in September. We're going to get him on about that in September. Look forward to carrying it at InfoWarsShop.com. But, Daniel, finishing up the point you were making out, you're speaking to the EU Parliament. You're not just going and visiting with Fidel Castro. This information is really breaking through. That's why they never wanted to admit it existed, because once you admit there's cabals running things and that presidents and prime ministers are puppets in the West, we could begin to have a real political debate and maybe get our power back, get our countries back.
Well, this is exactly what's happening. Now, the thing is that a lot of the Bilderbergers way back when I wrote my first book in 2005 on True Story of the Bilderberg Group, people were taking us for freaks, saying that this is nonsense, doesn't exist. Well, of course, okay, it does exist, but these people just a pointless debating society. They don't really do any harm. That's what a lot of people were saying. And now we're getting mainstream publications such as Vanity Fair in Spain. It gave me 3 pages a couple of weeks ago. Wall Street, Italy, full-page coverage. We have Castro, we have European Parliament, Mario Borghezio, one of the most important Euro-parliamentarians. He's always, promoting me in the European Parliament, talking about Bilderberg. You covered that as well on Infowars.com. So there's a lot of attention being paid right now by the mainstream press and by the people who know what's going on. And our sources, as I said to you before, working on a Bilderberg documentary, which we released in a couple of months worldwide. And we had, people from, for example, Rothschild Europe, who said that they would love to participate. They know that everything I'm saying is absolutely true, but they just simply can't because they can't do it as an individual and as an entity. They're simply afraid to do it.
Hold on, that's big. I hate to interrupt. You're saying Rothschilds have contacted you, because I found it interesting. Luke Radowski confronted the head of the British Royal Rothschild, and he stopped and came over to Luke almost in a friendly way. And then Luke kind of said stuff back to him. Luke wishes he would have waited and be nice. And then so Rothschild walked away. But
these people are not the individual that I'm talking about. Their last name is not Rothschild, but they're obviously a very high level of Rothschild Corporation in Europe, so they understand what's going on. These aren't some, Joe Blow, Joe Sixpack, who doesn't know anything at all. These people know who runs the world, and so they have no qualms at all saying you're absolutely right. We just can't say it. We had Martin Wolf. I sent him an email saying I'm working on a documentary. Do you want to participate? And he sent me a reply saying, how dare you work on a Bilderberg documentary, and I will never give you an interview. So needless to say, that's going in the film as well. So we're actually ruffling a lot of feathers. Now, I wouldn't be able to do this by myself if I hadn't had access to programs such as yours. That's going to be worldwide as soon as, this broadcast ends. It's going to be on your page, on my page, and people from Japan to South Korea to Australia and Argentina will be able to listen to it and pass it on to their friends. So we're actually doing a lot of damage to these people, Alex.
Final question in the 1 minute we have, Daniel Estulin, DanielEstulin.com, and obviously I want to get you back for the film and the book. Are there any breaks inside the elite families themselves? Are any of them not liking what their families are doing?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, because you're talking about a close-knit circle of the elite themselves, and you have the others who come and join these meetings, but they're not as important. It's within these others who come and join on regular, not so regular basis that you're seeing a lot of discontent. But the elite themselves, it's a small nucleus, and they're united. They understand their goals, and it's like a closely knit family. They have a common enemy, that's us, and they're working against us.
We are their enemy. Wow, powerful interview. There's the name of the interview right there. We posted on the web after it's live today, just aired. The Bilderberg's enemy. The Bilderberg has an enemy. It's us, or Bilderberg. I got to think about that. Daniel Estulin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Alex, to you.
All right, we'll be right back with a big news blitz. Then we've got a World War II veteran, a hero, having his house taken.
When you're out on the road,
Okay, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Stuart Rhodes of Oath Keepers is going to be joining us. This article is up at Infowars.com right now. World War II war hero has land and home stolen. And they are coming to take us home. They've already announced it's theirs. And again, it wasn't the mortgage from the info I have from Stuart Rhodes. It is that he's bankrupt, so now they're going to take his house. Don't they have homesteads where this guy's based? We're going to try to get him on as well. His hearing's not good, and he's on his way to the VA right now. But I've just seen how these banks and people prey on old people, and it makes me really, really, really angry. We bail them out with tens of trillions of dollars, and then for creditors, he's saying for medical bills and credit card bills, they're taking his house. So it looks like the It's the trustee of the bankruptcy is who needs to have a talking to about this stuff. Just amazing to see this kind of stuff happening. Don't forget, I talked about this in the first hour. I'm launching a nationwide contest. Before I get into the news, I want to talk about this briefly again, to expose the fact that the presidency is becoming a dictatorship. And the president right now is Obama. And we did another one of these operations 3 years ago, and media all over the U.S. implied it was illegal to criticize the president. And we have clips of those newscasts actually in a video posted there titled "Stop Dictator Obama." Now, there's $15,000 in prizes. By the way, I will announce the $10,000 winners, $5,000 apiece, next Thursday. We're going to start today posting the finalists. We've got it down to about 100. I mean, I'm going to have to stay up here late tonight because there's so many good people. Over 600 entries for the reporter contest. And I've had to not do the TV show this week because of this. I'm not complaining. It's my fault. I bite off more than I can chew routinely. You know, I start a fight with somebody I can't whoop, as they say. Because, wow, look at that sign. Infowars.com, dictator scum, resign. Who came up with that? Oh, Marcos did that. Wow. Wow, well, let's put that up. That's a great graphic. Yeah, you can use our graphics and hang them or make your own. Doesn't matter. It's whoever hangs up the most in the most dramatic, legal, and lawful way. That means if you could get on the stage legally and lawfully of a national TV show and go, look at my flyer, you'd probably win. Whoever has the biggest effect. Friday at midnight. Do it. Upload the video to YouTube. Download our flyers or make your own. That's phase one, $5,000 to get the media to cover it. And undoubtedly, they're going to end up attacking the First Amendment. That's how we defend it, showing these tyrants are coming after it. Then, over the next 2 weeks, $10,000. It's two winners. One will be $5,000, one will be $10,000. It's not a first and second place. It's two different contests. Same operation. And if you're the best and win round one, you can win round two, too. This is not some communist system where, oh, well, you've already won. Now I'm reading about swim teams, even big swim teams, where if somebody keeps winning all the blue ribbons and all the best at the meet in their age group, that they're now not going to let you have it the second time. And I'm hearing about people that win spelling bees at schools now aren't allowed to win the next time or are disqualified. This is actually in the news. So I guess on swim team, my son and my daughter both win the blue ribbons almost every time. I was a good swimmer as well. Man, if I'd have stayed in it, I swam like 3 seasons and was winning almost every time. And I was like 12 and looked at my parents and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And they said, okay. Okay, you don't have to do this anymore. I wish that I would have been made to continue to do it. But that's another side issue. I am getting bleed over. And I don't know if I'm getting it from Genesis up in Minnesota, or I don't know if I'm getting it in here. But it is driving me absolutely crazy. It's probably from Genesis because it's another show. But it is extremely irritating. Very irritating. Okay. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to do a radio show with somebody's feed in your ear. And if you guys can't hear it, I can hear it. I could. Yeah, no, I'm just letting everybody know because we always go through that process of,